The last few videos have been absolute flops, man. I need something a little bit safer. Something that everyone in my audience can enjoy. Oh wow. Well, you see, I would do a Terraria video, but
yo, I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane.
I have reviewed Sonic 1 as many times as Dream has gotten into controversies, and most of the time I've had very similar things to say about the game, like, oh yeah, the game is mid, Green Hill Zone is good, and Labyrinth Zone is bad. I mean, hell, the game's only an hour long. How do you expect me to find new material on it? Somehow I always do though, but yeah, okay, I found something else this time, but that's because I was a dumbass back then. While I was rewatching my older videos over again, I realized just how generic my opinions were. They weren't really my opinions, but rather the regurgitated opinions of other content creators. So, in this video, I want to give Sonic 1 a completely fresh look. So, for this review, Tennis the Monkey Man, vow that this video is going to be completely 100% original with nothing rehashed from anyone. Yeah. 100% original, guys. This is the first entry of Green Hill Zone in the Sonic franchise, which means it's also probably going to be the most boring. But there's a reason that this level comes back so much. Green Hill is a fast and fun level, and even though I've played it thousands of times, the dozens of alternate and intertwining routes within it keep it from ever getting stale. My favorite act of Green Hill Zone here has probably got to be Act 2, not only because of the mystical moonwalk, which I swear to the Lord in heaven I found in every single damn level, but also because if you jump past these spikes here, you access a nice little hidden room filled with rings, shields, and other goodies. Also, I like the spike pits, those two. Small little details like this allow Sonic 1 to feel dynamic. Like there's a little sense of love and care sprinkled about every single corner of this game. And if I was still a kid, okay. And if I was still a kid, it'd probably tickle my imagination in more ways than one. Well, it would have if I wasn't too busy playing Sonic Lost World, clearly. The superior Sonic experience. I broke my controller on this level. It sucks. Also, did I really say that it tickles my imagination? Green Hill Zone finishes when I hit the flagpole, that's Mario. And Sonic leaps into a giant ring where it gets to become high on drugs. Remember when I said that this video is going to be completely original? This is the Secret Zone, the earliest rendition of what would eventually become a Sonic staple with its special stages. Contrary to popular opinion, I actually quite like the special stage, even if it makes me taste my lunch again. I mean, it's quite the nice deviation from normal Sonic gameplay, and once you get used to it, the controls really aren't that bad. Nab the Chaos Emerald and you get booted out with a sense of accomplishment. But if you even dare touch those gold bumpers, I'm gonna shoot you! This is the only gun I have. It doesn't even look. This is a Star Wars Stormtrooper model. No! While others might eventually slam their hedgehog junk into a gold bumper at the speed of light, I'm a cool gamer, so I only failed about half the special stages I got into in my playthrough. While I do like these special stages, I do have a gripe with them, and that's their placement. Your only opportunity to get these in a playthrough is by collecting 50 rings and taking them all the way to the end of the level, which is a challenge in and of itself. But then factor in the special stages are also decently challenging, since as I said, I failed half of them in my playthrough, and then also factor in that there are only 10 levels where you can actually enter into those special stages in the first place, which means that you can only fail 4 times, and you'll begin to see where my issue is with these rings. So if you want to get different colored flowers in the end, you better not mess up. Wait, so all you even get for getting all the Chaos Emeralds is just some flowers? That's it? Really? I don't care about it. I don't know why I'm sounding so damn enthusiastic. Anyhow, enough on that. A side tangent, I guess. I'm back to Green Hill, where I find an invincibility monitor awaiting me. Don't mind if I do. I remember always dying at this spring jump here as a kid. There's a motobook stationed right on this platform here, so if you time your bouncing correctly, you'll be placed right in the path of this guy and be led to an unfortunate death. Good to know my Sonic skills haven't changed much. Get to the end of the zone and you'll face Dr. Robotnik, the Eggman, and his big, terrifying ball of doom. Oh, it's already over.
That was easy.
One broken capsule later and we're in the Marble Zone. SEGA clearly does not know what a marble looks like. Oh, it's because the walls are made out of marble, isn't it? And hey, this level, like Green Hill, is actually pretty fast and fun. At least the outside anyways. Pity the outside part only lasts like 5 seconds. You know, I don't even think I found Marble Zone that bad. Oh, yes, Marble Zone is a drastic change of pace from Green Hill. It's far more linear and is pretty damn slow. But even though I'm gonna get shot for thinking this, please help. Marble Zone honestly isn't that bad. Yeah, it's quite a bit slower, but that's not always a bad thing, as the slow pace of Marble Zone allows you to really feel the moments of speed that comes when you jump outside the roads, just like a roller coaster. The reason I think that the slow pace of Marble Zone sticks out so much to modern audiences is that later Sonic games found a way to make slow-paced areas a lot more bearable. Like, think about Chemical Plant Zone with its much more speedy antics, as well as much more infrequent, slower platforming-based sections. But honestly, I think that Marble Zone's reception more so comes from players wanting to go fast, despite the game wanting you to go slow, which then causes players to die and redo major sections of Marble Zone, only increasing their frustrations with the level. At least that's why I disliked it back in the day. Hi, it's Senzu from the future here, and while I genuinely agree with the points I made in the past, another flaw with Marble Zone I neglected to mention was the fact that the level is just slow for being slow. Chemical Plant keeps you engaged by forcing you to jump from platform to platform, while Marble Zone forces you to wait for an arbitrary amount of time for the sake of making you wait. I didn't find too much of an issue with this in my playthrough, at least in the first 2 acts, but I figured that I should mention it here, just to make sure this review is fair. So I was supposed to say something really cringe here, and you know what? I'm not gonna do that, so let's get back to the video, shall we? And if you're really desperate to earn your speed, you could always just... Oh. Shit. I guess I'm stuck here forever. How the fuck? See, you might have thought I was actually dead, but in reality, I was just acting. Marble Zone Act 3 is the act of Marble Zone, which I think earns the prestigiously shit status Marble Zone's known for in the community. It's a lot slower than even the previous acts of Marble Zone, with the redeeming aspect of it being that it's a lot more difficult too. Even though I didn't die at all due to my supreme Sonic skills, it still took me like 5 minutes and 30 seconds to beat it. And then the boss took me like 5 seconds. Yeah, the bosses are honestly just pushovers in this game, aren't they? But anyways, wanna see a 6th night? It came at me so fast the textures didn't even have time to load. While I didn't have too much to say about Marble Zone, I have a lot more to say about the next level, Spring Yard Zone. Spring Yard Zone, while it's typically interpreted as a bootleg casino level, I interpreted it as a scrapyard of zones, containing all sorts of springs, bumpers, and other discarded objects. Top of the morning, guys. My name is Jacksepticeye, making an insanely awesome dystopian-like city. Yeah, why not use Chemical Plant against Sonic Frontiers when peak level theming is right here? This apex isn't just limited to Spring Yard Zone, by the way, as every single zone in Sonic 1, aside from maybe Green Hill, is insanely inventive and unique, especially by today's standards. You got your ancient civilizations and labyrinths, a city which is yet to be constructed, an evil scientist lair filled with all sorts of crazy No, not that one. No, the other one.
This must be an automated.
You know, fuck it, that's right. But, yeah, the level themes of Sonic 1 are just completely fantastic. Anyways, that's enough of stroking Sonic 1's lengthy schlong cope. Spring Yard Zone was originally my favorite zone in Sonic 1, but after playing through it a few times, honestly, I probably prefer Marble Zone from a level design perspective. I mean, sure, it's faster at times.
Wow, Sonic's fast too.
No.
Spring Yard Zone is just very annoying. You trade in faster movement with half pipes for enemies like Metal Sonic 0.5 and these spike balls. Quick side tangent, I actually despise these spike balls. Like, they're a really fun gimmick when there's one in a half pipe, but typically they're placed in areas where it feels like the game wants you to go fast, like in the aforementioned half pipes or down long slopes, but then the game punishes you for going that fast by forcing you to take damage. I don't mind slowness, I like Marble Zone at the end of the day, but punishing the player for rolling down a slope like in Spring Yard is stupid. Now, contrastingly, Spring Yard's level theme and music are still among my favorites in the entire Sonic series. Like, listen to this shit. Wait, what? You can hit those guys in the head? I'm keeping that in. I should also note here that the alternate routes are pretty damn lame. Like, Marble Zone was mostly linear with a few branching paths of the outside section here and there, but at least there weren't alternate routes which were literally just go down this slowly moving elevator, or you get to skip the level by hitting this button. Like, gee whiz, these were just lame. A special stage? Almost got the emerald. Oh, that's okay, I'll get on the next way around. Okay then. Overall, while I've been clowning on Springyard Zone a lot, it's still a solid zone, hindered from being one of the best zones in Sonic 1 due to numerous small annoyances I touched on here. Which, to be honest, most players probably won't even notice when they play the game. I am just being a picky bitch. Plus, I can't help but hold a soft spot for Springyard Zone because, believe me, the heights of this zone are pretty damn high. Like, look at this. Tell me this isn't the coolest thing ever. I would rewrite my script to be a little bit softer on Springyard Zone if I could, but there is one more thing I want to talk about, though. Springyard's also where I noticed the weird running physics of Sonic, as from what I can tell, Sonic has a strict speed cap he adheres to while running. Meaning that unlike later entries in the series, like Sonic 2 and probably even CD, you can't actually go up half pipes or anything while running. You have to be rolling. This isn't exactly a bad thing, but I'm pro-choice, so what do you mean that's the wrong way to use that word? But this does bring up a bigger issue with Sonic 1 that I touched upon earlier. And to explain what that is, let me quickly talk about a game you've never heard of, Spelunky. Spelunky is a roguelike video game where you go spelunking to find treasure, and is what I consider to be a nigh-perfect video game. The game is a little bit rough around the edges, but overall is still very fun. But then comes Spelunky 2, which smoothed out those rough edges to create a much more fluid experience, making me unable to go back to Spelunky 1 due to its much more dated elements, even though I never noticed them back when Spelunky 2 didn't exist. This philosophy also applies to Sonic 1. It's the first Sonic game, and it has a lot of rough edges that are smoothed out in Sonic 2. And then the rough edges of Sonic 2 are smoothed out further in Sonic 3, leaving Sonic 2 in the dust, meaning that Sonic 1's all the way out of the fucking stratosphere. Most famously, we can see this with the lack of Spin Dash in Sonic 1, which is traditionally a tool which allows Sonic to get right back up in those slower sections and keep moving forwards. An addition which would feel right at home in Sonic 1.
But strange, Lowe!
I hear you saying.
Sonic 1 wasn't designed around the spin dash! It doesn't need it!
I just see, this is where I would actually start saying stuff, but as you can see and hear, all I have in my notes is, oh god, no! Labyrinth Zone is infamously known as one of the worst zones in Sonic. Not just Sonic 1, in Sonic. And I think it's not that bad. Oh, come on! Don't get me wrong, Labyrinth Zone is by far the worst zone in Sonic 1, but the main problem I feel most have with it is its slow pace and its difficulty. Like the fucking snowball level, it's not a gloss. I'm getting PTSD. I guess that the reason I don't find Labyrinth Zone as atrocious as I once did is not only because I've played Sonic 1 so much my brain has turned to mush, but also the fact that I'm older than I was before, and then I can find a lot more enjoyment in slower paced games. Also, I'm better at games, I guess. I just have to not sound like an old man, guys. I acknowledge that Labyrinth Zone is objectively a pretty bad, slow, and unfairly difficult Sonic level, but I just didn't encounter the same frustrations others did with it. The only real annoying thing that I can think of that hasn't been noted a lot is how whenever the drowning music plays, it resets the Labyrinth Zone music, meaning that you listen to every time you start drowning. Holy hell, did that piss younger me off.
Which will reset the music every single time you drown.
So fuck this game.
Of course, me, the Sonic Master, I had no trouble completing this level. I have to restart the whole game, don't I? Nah, I have continues. Holy shit, this game is continues. Can we just take a moment to talk about just how incredible the scenery in Sonic 1 is? Especially in Labyrinth Zone. I mean, it looks and sounds amazing. A lot of people just forget that they're running around a massive, sprawling labyrinth filled with a whole bunch of death traps. It just looks so cool. I mean, come on, John. Take a break from getting traumatized and come look around at the scenery. Honestly, I'd probably, kill for a remake of Labyrinth Zone. It's just so interesting. While I was spit roasting my eyeballs out in Labyrinth Zone, I did notice something that not a lot of people tend to discover when they're reviewing Sonic 1. So, just look at this clip of Sonic Mania for a minute. And now, look at this clip of Sonic 1's Labyrinth Zone. Yeah. That was 3 separate acts of Labyrinth Zone, and they didn't look any different from one another, while Studiopolis' first and second acts look so different that they could potentially be categorized as different zones entirely. This is one of those rough edges I was talking about earlier. All the acts in Sonic 1 look so similar that they might as well just be one level. Sure, there are some differentiating aspects, like the waterfall in Labyrinth Zone Act 3, but it's not nearly enough to make these acts distinct from each other. Point in case being that I actually only showed 2 acts of Labyrinth Zone and not 3. Get trolled, idiots. This all causes the game to feel much less varied as a result, which is already a problem when there are only 6 zones in the game. It's also the boss fights, I guess. Expert transition! Now it's boss fight time! Oh yeah, I never went over Spring Guard Zone's boss. It was easy. And now on to Labyrinth Zone's boss. It's really cool. You have to run up a level, narrowly avoiding traps, and wham on Eggman if you can in the meantime. Honestly, I'd love to see it brought back in the future. Wait, what? It's already over?
That was easy.
Starlight Zone! Starlight Zone is great. It is by far the best zone in Sonic 1, being fast and fun enough to be marketable, but also it contains a lot of slower parts to balance out the speed, being the closest thing in Sonic 1, feeling like the best classic Sonic game, Sonic Mania. But anyways, oh Jesus, what was that?
Oh no, it's the Sonic 3 and Knuckles fans.
Oh shit, oh shit.
Get out!
We're gonna burn you alive! I'm gonna pound you with the turtles! Did one of those guys just say he wanted to pound me?
What are we gonna do?
Who the fuck are you? My only real complaint about Starlight Zone is that, while it's fast and fun, the level doesn't really feel like a second last level. It's just nowhere near difficult enough. Thread the fucking needle, why don't you? Okay, so having an easy game isn't all that bad, but this ties into an actual complaint I have with Sonic 1, and that's that after Starlight Zone ends, there is a huge fucking difficulty spike. I mean, yeah, Labyrinth Zone and levels prior were difficult, but that's more so because they wanted to punish you for being impatient and going fast when the game wants you to go slow. If you're not acting like an addict searching for their next high, the game is actually quite easy for the most part. And I'm saying this after game overing for the second time, so take my words with a grain of salt. After walloping Eggman one more time, what a thrilling challenge. You're whisked off into the final zone of the game. But besides final zone, it's Scrap Brain Zone! Yeah! I remember I used to absolutely detest Scrap Brain Zone as a kid, purely because of how unfairly difficult I felt it was. And a big part of that I think that is an issue where was not really the fault of the level itself, but more so just how large of a difficulty spike this level was from Starlight Zone. But now as a big brain man, I guess, who's played Sonic 1 more times than he can count, this level's actually pretty cool. My cursor was on screen during it, though.
Sonic the Hedgehog, for your numerous crimes against humanity, I sentence you to death by fire. May your soul be cleansed in the afterlife. Is this motherfucker immortal?
As you can see, at the end of the act here, even though I had over 50 rings, no secret zone appeared for me to jump into. Yeah, I didn't do my math wrong when I said that there are only 10 levels you get a Chaos Emerald in, because for quote-unquote coding limitations, you can't get any Chaos Emeralds in Scrap Brain Zone. This just exacerbates the special stage issue I touched on earlier due to there not being enough entrances, but thankfully Scrap Brain Zone has more than enough quality to make up for it. Scrap Brain Zone is immune to the clause I mentioned earlier about each act not being different enough from one another, as all of Scrap Brain Zone's acts are almost completely different from one another, but both still retain the core elements that make Scrap Brain Zone unique. Don't let me talk about it. Despite this, Scrap Brain isn't the best designed in the world, not making great use of Sonic speed very often. Come on, Scrap Brain Zone, you almost had it! Scrap Brain Zone is one of the lesser liked levels in the Sonic community, and due to its hard difficulty and its somewhat slower nature, it's not hard to I have hair in my mouth. It's not hard to understand why. But, I mean, Scrap Brain Zone isn't even that bad. I think that people unfairly criticize it.
Go to bed.
Oh, I gotta turn the lights off.
Oh god, this is too comfortable.
But I must get up. There is videos to film. Why would you do this? You thought Labyrinth Zone was bad with this slow-paced bullshit traps? Well, this just takes the cake. Let's crank the difficulty up to 12,000 and put enemies in positions that abuse the fuck out of glitches we couldn't fix in the game. Yeah, and now I'm at the start of the level again. Thanks, Sonic 1! Well, at least it's over. That wasn't that bad. I mean, it was pretty short after... Well... Scrap Brain Zone Act 3 is by far the worst level in the entire game. But at least they were generous enough to make hell short. But at least I'm moving up in the world, baby. Let's go! Woo! And now we're on to the final zone. Final zone. And we're face to face with Robotnik, the Eggman, one final time. If Sonic 2 had the Death Egg Robot, capping off the more difficult and cinematic bosses of the game as a whole, and Sonic 3 had the Doomsday Zone, inventing a series staple in the Supersonic boss fight, then Sonic 1's final boss was pretty easy. I mean, it got me a lot when I was younger, but when you're just a little bit patient, kill Eggman one final time and you're whisked back to Green Hill Zone, animal buddies in tow, and then Sonic leaps towards the camera, afterwards plummeting to his demise. Sonic 1 is an exceptionally dated game. I mean, no shit, it's like 30 years old. But that doesn't mean it's bad. Sure, it has low points like Scrap Brain Zone Act 3, but it has high points like Green Hill, Starlight Zone, and Springyard Zone. It has some of the most creative level themes in the series. It has fucking banger music. Look at this shit. I'm just pointing at my script, man. When Sonic 1 has so much good about it, and so little that's bad about it, then I think that's just a good game at the end of the day. But you know, it just has a little bit too much water. Try again for what? Flowers? Eggman, are you trying to seduce me?
No way!